But I want to thank you, Richard, for coming on to this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
You've been one of my most loyal fans since I started. I've been seeing you on there all the time. And I said, wait, this guy in Osaka is really checking out my podcast, and I want to get to know who he is. I want to get to know who he is.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How long have you been here in Japan?
I came to Japan in the United States Air Force in 1983. Landed in Okinawa and Kadena Air Force Base. Spent 4 years in Okinawa. Ended up working part-time in like Japanese izakayas like Akachochin, places like that. Worked my way up to manager and went to Fukuoka for a year and a half. Opened up a I don't know if you're ever familiar with Kintos, where it was a live.
Yeah, I remember Kintos. Yes.
Yeah, live band while you're eating American food. It was a place called Pinocchio. It was a they stole the same concept.
Right. Wait, why did you got out of the service, or what? You stayed here for 2 years, then got out?
I stayed here for 4 years, 3 years in the military, 3.5 in the military here. Got out and just stayed. I had to go back to Mater Air Force Base to get out of the Air Force.
Right. Wait, how many years? How many years were you in the Air Force?
3.5. 3.5 years.
That's all.
Yeah, I went in, and I wanted to be an MP. Excuse me, but they wouldn't let me because I have a lazy left eye, they say. Okay. So I became an F-15 crew chief. And I guess it just wasn't the best time, or I look back and wonder if it was probably me, but supervisors, and they had this thing called the Graham Rudman Act, where they had too many crew chiefs.
Right.
And so they offered me a job change, and I said it'll be, and they wouldn't give it to me. So I got out under the Graham Rudman Act under a general but honorable discharge.
Right.
And just stayed because I was working part-time. And back then, we weren't making but $600 a month anyway. So I was making that in a weekend, diving for uni in Okinawa.
Okay.
So I came back. I fell in love with the culture. I saw my first samurai movie at the age of 12. Fell in love with which I didn't know it was Japan at that time. I was a stupid kid growing up, and not really knowing geography and things like that. But I just felt like I was home here, so I came back.
Where did you grow up?
Mostly Southeast Missouri area.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have a older brother, 12 years older than I am.
12. Then you guys aren't close at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Same mother and father?
No, different father.
Okay, but how are your parents doing? Your mom and dad, how are they doing?
Oh, they've all passed away years and years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I think the first time I saw the ocean when I was 18. I grew up, looking at the Mississippi River, and I just needed. I guess I don't know. We grew up in a farming community,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it was cotton and soybeans and Milo, and there was nothing culturally, exciting. I say that now. Now I'm wanting to get back to that lifestyle.
Right. I understand. Right.
Yeah. I'm a fan of living off grid. I want to get, live off grid. I want to, be self-sustainable. But at that time, 18 years old. Huh?
And then you're doing this podcast. That's why you were reluctant to do the podcast, because you're gonna live off grid?
I mean, what I consider, I stayed here for 20 years,
Right.
And I did Fukuoka. I went to Yokohama, worked for the Fujiya Corporation for Henry Africa as a bartender in Kanai area. I got a great job at Palace Hotel. Mm-hmm. They wanted me to be their French restaurant manager. So flew me to Guam. We opened up the Palace Hotel in Guam. Went to Leo Palace Resorts. Leo Palace then failed. Kept their golf resort, failed at the hotel we were going to go to. Then I ended up going to Southern Cross Resort, Nito as assistant food and beverage manager. Mr. Rubel from Tokyo Bay International staying there one night and says, "I want you to work for me, and I'll get you a job. I want you to be one of my assistant F&Bs, but I can't get you in right away, but I'll get you something." So I went into Tokyo that next weekend. I started as chief steward for 3 months and then flipped me up to assistant F&B. And we got a dessert buffet going, got real popular. And I just, Tokyo American Club picked me up.
Wait, you were working at the Tokyo American Club?
I went to Tokyo American Club originally as a training manager. Mr. Tadlock was there.
That's when I joined. Wait. Oh. What year? Yes. That had to be 1980. What year was it? Because Tadlock's daughter was
19. I think I was there 1990 to 93, 94, 95. That's when I was there.
And I was already, I joined the club in 1988.
Wow. Yeah, so I did. This is the old club.
Let me tell you
American. I was there when Trader's Bar was still fighting to be, cigars,
Let me tell you what, Richard, that's so interesting because at the American Club, like I said, Tadlock's daughter worked for me. He was not a good front man. He was very good in the back. And he had Mike Bumgardner.
Mr. Bumgardner came on later after I did. I remember he was the greatest guy you could ever. Yeah, I loved him.
He was the general manager for me. He was under me when I was president. He and I were kind of like oil and water because I don't think he was ex-Army and I'm ex-Air Force.
Right.
And I think it was this Air Force Army kind of thing. He didn't like a younger Air Force guy being over him, but it was interesting. It sure was interesting.
Yeah, I was there. I
thought you were familiar. I really thought you were familiar.
The food and beverage director was a guy named Brad from Cornell University.
Right.
And then he left. And then there were two assistants, me and another guy. Another guy had more experience than I did. Mark something, I forget. Mm-hmm. And then him and I he got this meningitis thing.
Yes.
Was in the hospital. Doctor told me specifically, don't tell him anything. Don't bring any business here. So I did it. And boy, he hated me when he got out like 3 weeks later. I couldn't stand it. So I did a contract thing for a thing called Blue Wave. Yes. Right there in Zabu. It was open for a little while. It was stealing Roy's ideas.
Right.
And Mr. Tsukikawa came in one day. I didn't know who he was, the guy who owned Roy's. And he picked me up as a consulting general manager for a year. And I took care of the three Roys and Hiro Setagaya and Aoyama. Right. And then I just, Mr. Tsukikawa and I got in an argument with some American club. Some American club people came in on my day off, like first day off in 3 months, and had a bad experience, but they faxed me. This was the day of faxes.
Right.
And they faxed me saying, yeah, we wouldn't say anything, but we know you, so we know you'll take care of it. So they told me the problem. I brought the problem up to the meeting. He wanted to take money from everybody, even chefs in other restaurants. And they weren't even there. And I protested. And he looked, I'll take 60,000 yen from you. It was all kinds of problems. Right. And I said, you don't need me. But I was so, I'm telling you, Lance, you get a lot of people on your program that are model fathers, model workers, model businessmen. I think I'm Japanese black sheep. I've married 6 times in Japan. I've got.
Are you kidding me?
Kids. No,
How many kids do you have?
I have two older boys in Tokyo. I have older daughter. She is Chiba in Kashiwa because I lived there for 4 years.
Okay.
And she's a yoga instructor. She's just an amazing individual. Then I have, let's see, hold on. I got to think about this for a minute. See, so that was from my first two wives. My third wife, no children. My fourth wife, I was married 14 years. I have a 20-year-old daughter who's now in Oahu working for Tommy Bahamas.
Okay.
And I have a 14-year-old son still in Hawaii going through school. Then I have she's still asleep, a 6-year-old, 5.5-year-old little monster, little daughter here.
Six kids from 5 women.
That's right. Yeah. I know your audience is going to go, oh my God, I'm turning this off.
How old are you now? How old are you now, Richard?
70.
When did you turn 70?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm 56.
Okay, 70. I'm saying, when did you turn 60? Because you beat me by a year.
No, I tell all the Japanese I'm 70 to make them freak out. No, but yeah, I'm 56. My oldest kid's 31, and my youngest is almost 6. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's 3 generations.
You're living the life. You're saying, hey, you can't have but one wife at a time, so you're going to have as many as you can have, huh?
You know, it's I grew up in where I grew up. I did. You know, I was this little, small-minded country boy, and I came to Japan and everything exploded. I was handsome. A couple of my jobs, I worked as host, making drinks for girls. And I just took every job I could get. I got more money everywhere I went. I was just stupid. In business too, when I was at the Bay Hilton, I got a chance to meet Mr. Charles Besford from Disney. And, he was the first person that I really looked up to as someone was, someone who had their stuff together. And though our paths never really crossed a lot, he's one of those people that I think, man, I wish I could have been more, like that. And then it gets worse. It gets worse because I went to after Roy's, I was divorcing my wife at the same time, my second wife, and the truck had came, and I was moving back to Tokyo. And I get a phone call from an old friend that's a guy that, his name's Rick, and he's always down in Roppongi, doing this and introducing people to this club and that club. He calls me up and he says, "Hey, you wanna, what are you doing right now?" And I said, "I just quit my job the other day." And he says, "Well, good. I want you to manage the club for me. Meet me at the so-and-so restaurant. And tonight at 8:00. So I went down, all these Yakuza guys from, and from Ginza, and I forget I forget where the other guy was from, Mr. Togami. I forget where he's from. But they met me and they told me how much they wanted to pay me and told me what they wanted to do and what they, and I said, great. And they all left and we bowed and did all that. And I said, wow, that's great. He goes, yeah. Club's upstairs. We went upstairs, and I opened the doors. The construction's still going on at 8:00 at night because they're trying to get it done. And I walk through the club, and there's a DJ booth, and I see all the booths where the girls sit to make men drinks. And I look where there's 2 poles. I go, "What's that?" And he goes, "Well, this is going to be Japan's first Japanese only topless club." I go, "What? Like Seventh Heaven?" And he goes, "Yeah, but only Japanese girls." So I, as general manager, opened the first. It was called Cleone. Right? Yep, right off. Not 30 seconds off of Roppongi Square there.
What was that? Seventh Heaven?
No, Seventh Heaven was catty-cornered across the street.
Okay.
Yeah, you had Seventh Heaven and on that side with the bookstore. Then you had Almond,
right,
and then you had the soba shop.
All right.
It was behind the soba shop down there.
And it was only for Japanese.
Only Japanese women.
Oh, I see.
The girls that wanted to live in that kind of work in that kind of atmosphere couldn't do it in these other clubs because there were so many international women. I know your audience is putting their hand over their head and everything, but they couldn't. they couldn't compete with these girls.
Right.
And they got pushed out verbally or mentally. So they wanted to make a place where these girls could work. And, you know, we had the first 2 weekends, we had 40 applicants.
Wow.
So I did that for a year. I said, we make this amount of money, you know, because about 3 months in, I can't, I'm a food and beverage guy. I was like, oh my God, this is even tougher. I can't do this. I can't deal with. So I did it for 11 months. Got my bonus. I got a big bonus, and took my girlfriend at that time. We went up to Guma and opened up a bed and breakfast. And I did that for 2 years. Yeah. So the first 20 years I was here, that was your
you
know. And then so my mom passed away, went back to where they were staying, the Grand Canyon. And I went back and I moved to Hawaii, went to Hawaii, lived in Hawaii for 12 years, started coming back doing spiritual tours and Lomi Lomi sessions in Tokyo every month.
All right.
Stayed at the Intercontinental Hotel down there in Chiyoda. And then I met my wife now, went through all kinds of things, and been in Osaka 4.5 years now. And I've opened up a tour business.
Is that where she's from? Is she from Osaka?
She's from Higashi, Osaka. Yeah. And I've lived in I've 9 different places in Japan. I love living in Osaka. We opened up a tour guiding business. And you know, I'm smarter now. I believe I'm a lot more calmer. You know, and I know what's important in my life now. So I'm trying to make up for past mistakes I made, and trying to live a good life here. And you know, it's all going good. We've got I haven't had any customers in 22 months. Pretty much.
Is that right?
Well, they closed everything off.
But the government's subsidizing you, of course, for your losses.
No. The first thing people do is they make a tour or go on vacations. They book their aircraft, their airline. Then they book their hotels where they're going to be. And then they book their option tours. That's me. And they've taken care of everybody, plus restaurants. But they won't take. No. It's been, you know, it's been a learning experience. We'll put it at that.
So what are you doing? What are you doing then? What do you do to make things work? What are you doing now? Just living off your savings, I guess.
Well, that was the first year. No, second year, there's been programs that have given us enough money to move on, and it's general programs for everybody. So it's like the koi fish in the pond sees a reflection of a person standing over them, which is the Japanese government. We're the fish in the pond, and we run to the edge hoping they'll throw anything, you know. And then when they do throw something, you got to fight for it, you know. So yeah. So I've tried. And my wife's really, oh man, she's incredible. You know, we've been together 6 years. She's so supportive. And we have the same type of, you know, thought process. And so with all this time and whatever little funds that we get and donations that we get, we're starting you know, we want to feed. There's so many latchkey kids around where we live.
That's so good.
And so I was able to acquire for free a really sizable property behind our house, our apartment here, which our neighbor was a teacher for 30 years behind his house. A property nobody wanted. None of the farmers wanted. And I had to go, you know, to hunt down who owned it. I got it. And so I cleared it. Took me, you know, and we're putting up tents, and we're going to make a 3-day a week starting in February. Hopefully, donations go well. We're going to feed kids 3 days a week from 1 to 4:30 on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
How do people find out where to donate? Where's that information?
We haven't got that far yet. We're getting close. Yeah,
you do. Let me know so I can add that to this podcast. I can put it on the podcast so people know where to contact you.
Thank you. I figure if I, you know, by helping others, I can help myself.
That's right.
And the guy behind us, he allows me to I do a lot of earth oven barbecues you see on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page. And he's, you know, he donates the rice. I got another Hirano Farms that donates said they'll donate some vegetables. And I've just got so many people around me right now that want to be supportive and help out. So I think, of all the places I've been in Japan and all the people I've met, and stupid as I've been through this whole life cycle, fortunate that all my kids are healthy and happy and good relationships, and that I have my health and that I have an opportunity to help other people. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see what we can do, because I don't ever think that this is going to come back normal.
Okay.
I hook up with all of my customers online, and the ones that when all this returns to some kind of normal are the ones not getting the vaccines, and they're not going to be able to travel. So I don't really think my business is though it was doing great. I was producing a lot of money, by myself. Right. It was just what I wanted to do at my pace and private custom tours. I don't think that business is going to return for unless something really weird happens. So I'm here, man. I'm
all right. Are you planning every day? Are you planning on staying in Japan indefinitely, or do you?
Oh, definitely. I want to die here.
There you go. There you go. That's my opinion as well.
Yeah, I've never had more. I took 14 years of Aikido through, different venues. I took, I love Japanese history. That's one part of as a tour guide, the imperial family, the history, the samurai structure, how Japan made it 2,680 years. It's so amazing. The food. I'm infatuated right now with the Jomon era. And, those people, how they lived and what they did, and the Ainu. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Should I have done some things better? Yeah, definitely. But I think
still have a chance to. You still have a chance.
Oh no! Every day's a new day.
That's right. That's right.
I finally got a wife that hits me in the head and says, "No, you're wrong. You're wrong." Before, you're making money, you're doing things, and your wife's agreeing with you, and you're having your, you're not paying attention to anything. And I think, I don't know, maybe I should add one of those bosses or people that kind of come up behind you and slap you in the head and say, no, you're doing these things wrong. But, I've got that group of people that were here in the 80s with us, I bet you can count them on four hands, And like the lady that was a front desk manager in the Palace Hotel, ran Oakwood for many years. Now she's in Okinawa. I met so many sumo wrestlers that I'm still in contact with. And I really had an interesting time during the period that I was here. And I guess you call it the bubble.
It was.
But I was like a kid in a candy store. So hopefully in my older age, I can use a little more of this. And I think I'm fortunate enough to be in the spot that I'm at now, that I've got great people around me and a wife that can tell you you're wrong when you're wrong. So
Richard, Richard, let me ask you this, Richard. The pictures behind you, is that your daughter behind you?
That's the one you have now? That's the one I have them all still.
Right.
Right,
of course.
The one here. Yeah.
Oh,
she is she talks from the moment she wakes up till about 30 minutes after she goes to bed. She is a bundle of energy. Yesterday we had, I ordered some Hokkaido Ezoshika ribs, and we did them in the earth oven, and I made a big, huge thing of scalloped potatoes, and about 7 people came. And as long as they donate a couple thousand yen and I can cover the cost of that, I kind of like just doing things like that. And we have this behind our house, this momi mound. You know what momi is, right?
Right.
It's product left over after they harvest the fields. It's these shells of the rice husk. And these 6-7 kids, they played in that thing for 4.5 hours yesterday, covered in momi. And I was for sure she'd take a nice hot bath to go to bed, and no, up till 11 o'clock. I wish I had just a tenth of her energy. I'd be a happy guy.
She's keeping you young. She's keeping you young, though. That's nice.
No, she's wearing me down. I think there was a guy that on one of your podcasts that has a daughter about my age and said, yeah, she's keeping me young. No, I'm getting worn down.
Richard, look, thank you. I want to thank you for really taking the time to do this. I'm looking at the time of this, of the Zoom to make sure that we have about 2 minutes left. But look,
okay.
When I come down that way, I ride my motorcycle down to Osaka every so often. Next time, I'm gonna make sure I visit with you when I come down.
I would love you to stop by and,
I sure will.
have a rib or some chicken, and we can sit and talk. That would be fantastic.
That'd be great.
Fantastic.
Richard,
thank you.
Look,
sir.
you have a fantastic day, and thank
you too, sir.
And I always end by saying this: never forget, it's all unknown. Continue to reach for the stars, and you're too blessed to be stressed.
That's true. That's true. Every day is a new beginning.
That's
so
right.
Yeah,
that's true.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
You take care, buddy. And
you too, sir.
And I'll send this right. You'll see it coming up real soon.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
Take care, Lance.
Take care, Richard.
Aloha.
Have a good day.
You too, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.